Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to be doing a Q&A session, that is question and answer session, directly to answer your questions. So this is a question I have received, a list of questions from Mr. Stacy. He's from Oklahoma in the US. And he writes, I'm interested in starting a contact center business. I'm here in the US and would like to obtain US contracts that will allow my company to hire agents internationally. Are you able to help guide me in the right direction towards obtaining contracts? After this, he has shared a list of questions which I'm going to quickly read it for you, and then I will be answering all the questions. The first question is about topic is legalities. In order to remain compliant with US laws in regards to our US based company, subcontracting, offshore, overseas, call centers, to fulfill our contracts, what all documents do we need to remain compliant here in the US, and what filing requirements must we complete for taxes for outsourcing overseas? When it comes to the local taxation part or legal licensing requirements, every country has different laws. Here in India, we have completely different laws. The Philippines has their own, and even in the US or their states also has local laws. So I always suggest that take recommendations or advice from the company lawyers or company secretary, chartered accountants. They're the best advisors for this. But when it comes to company structure, how you should structure your company between the US and India, that is something that I can suggest you. So your marketing office needs to be there in the US, which will be doing all marketing and accounting activities. That is actually bringing the clients in and then billing them or invoicing them and getting the revenue in. Once you get the revenue, you should be only sending the cost to your offshore center. So your offshore center will be in India, Philippines, or Jamaica, in developing countries, because you get the cost advantage there. And you will be only sending the amount which is required to run that offshore center. But your major revenue will be coming only in your marketing office. So your marketing staff, we can say, or the number of people that you will be hiring in the US will be relatively very less, because it's just going to be doing marketing activities and accounting activities. Whereas your offshore center will have 70 to 80% of staff, because they will be doing all the business operation activities, anything which is required from the client when it comes to customer support, debt collection, data processing. So all those activities will be done from your offshore center. So that's a typical framework that I will suggest you in this. The second question is about pay. So what does BPO clients usually pay per outsource call center contract? Is it anywhere between $12 to $20 per hour? It is not, because of course the American clients or European or Australian clients, they definitely want to pay less than what they are paying there locally. If it is the same pricing, then why would they offshore or why would they outsource it to any third-party companies? So the pricing typically in this business is between $10 to $12 for the voice agent. Voice, that means the agent who is directly getting in touch with the direct client, direct customers. So if he's actually on a call, if he's giving the customer support or this type of services to the customer, he's a voice agent, and you should be billing your clients around $10 to $12 for such employees. The other billing structure is for non-voice agents. So non-voice agents is basically the person is not directly interacting with the customer, but he's doing all back-end operations or back-end support for the company. That includes data processing, data mining, data entry, accounts reconciliation, email or chat support. So these are the activities done by non-voice agent, and the average pricing is between $5 to $7. So this is about your second question. The third one is, how often do clients usually pay? So clients, it all depends on the contract between the service provider and the client, and you can definitely negotiate with your clients, as per your requirements. So you can also share your terms, but average, we can say that it is a bi-weekly. So every 15 days you should be receiving the funds, you should be sending them the billing report, and they should be paying you. So typically it is bi-weekly, but yes, of course you can negotiate it depending on your requirements. The fourth one is, does clients pay upfront after awarding the contract or after work is completed by the hour? Yes, they can definitely pay you between 20 to 25%. If you have, if they have a requirement of say immediately 25 employees to begin with from next month, then you should definitely ask them for minimum 25% advance, because you will be deploying all the resources, infrastructure, talent acquisition, training. There are a lot of activities done which are going to be cost intensive. So it is definitely worth asking them for a minimum 25% of the revenue or 25% advance for the first month. Okay, the next question is securing international clients. So the fifth question is, how can we secure clients that allow us to hire overseas call centers to fulfill our customer service contracts? There are two ways of doing it. One is that if you have really large investments, then I suggest that you can hire your own business development team in the targeted country. Like if you're looking for clients in the UK, then have your business development team in the UK, or do the partnership with any marketing company over there, and they will be able to help you because they have a local network there. But that only depends on, if you have that much of investment or capital, and if you're ready to be patient for at least 1 year, or between 6 months to 1 year time to invest that much money required for the marketing expenses to create that branding and positioning in the local area or that particular industry and region. If you don't have it, the only alternative option that I suggest is doing two ways. One is social media marketing, because social media can help you to reach across the borders. Social media is such a great tool, that especially video content. So if you're doing video contents, and if you're doing it regularly, and if it's a value added content, that means it's not a selfish content. It needs to be selfless content. People should get benefit out of your content. If you're doing that, and if you're focusing on that, people will get educated. They will get information about what your company offers, what are the services, what expertise do you have, and they will be getting in touch with you. This is one way of doing it. The second way is CRM sales automation. So the more database that you have in your CRM, and the way you set up your automations, it will start sending back-to-back emails, follow-up emails to your target prospects, and it will help you to get appointments, telephonic appointments with them. And once you get appointments, you can start speaking with them, do the presentation, and get clients on board. How you get the database is again another way. So I will suggest you quickly is that you can get the database from DNB Hoover or Lead 411. There are several websites from where you can get database. Database is extremely important when it comes to client acquisition. Another way is LinkedIn Sales Navigator. From there also you can directly get in touch with your potential prospects. So that answers your fifth question, how you can get clients on board. So these are the two activities that I suggest you if you have less investment and if you're getting into international market. Number 6 is, are we able to purchase a list of international clients from you? Do you teach us step by step how to get approved? So if you're looking for purchasing the client's database, the leads database, then yes, definitely you can buy. If you're looking for a help from me in sales automation, CRM sales automation, and ready database of international prospects, you can let me know, message me, and I can help you in that. Some of the information is also shared on my executive program, so you can directly go there on executive program. The links are there in the description. Go and check it out. It will be definitely helpful for you. Then the part of the question is that do you teach us step by step how to get approved? So I think that includes there are two programs basically. Executive program is how to set up your sales CRM automations and project planning. The second is client acquisition program, that how you can actually create brand awareness and how you can reach your international prospects through social media, and there are various other ways that have explained there in client acquisition program, so you can go through both the programs. The seventh question is, how long does it usually take to secure a client if your business is up and running? So, it is a direct question about the sales cycle. Many people are not even aware that, what a sales cycle is, because they have different expertise coming from business operations or different ways. But when it comes to sales marketing, then, there is a sales pipeline which you really need to build. Sales pipeline is basically, if you're having conversations with 1 or 2 or 4 or 5 people, the conversion is not going to be that much. So you need to have, as I explained it in the last question, you must have a really huge database of international prospects or your target prospects. The more database you have, and once you set up your sales CRM automations, the conversion is going to be between 4 or 5%. So you will be getting inquiries or appointments of minimum 4 to 5% people. And once you start talking to them, then your sales pipeline starts. The sales pipeline is basically prospecting. The very first one is prospecting. So that is, getting the appointments. After that, qualifying the lead. That means every lead is not qualified. Does not mean that anyone sends you request that will be qualified as per your company's criteria. So you need to qualify it depending on your company's criteria. After qualification, then actually finding out the decision maker. Who is the decision maker in their business? Is it going to be the president, vice president, owner? So whom you are interacting with. So you need to identify who is the decision maker. After then, sending the proposal, proper proposal with corporate presentation, pricings, everything. This is a 4th step, that is sending proposal. Then negotiating, you will have to negotiate with them, on the pricing and everything. And once the negotiation part is done, then it's going to be either deal win or deal lose. So either you are going to win that deal and get the client on board, or the deal will be lost because of several reasons. Maybe because of the competition, because of the negotiation problem, or they are not comfortable with the price, XYZ reasons. So this is a typical sales cycle. So from prospecting to the final decision, it is going to take minimum 90 days time, because you're not selling a low ticket item, like you're not selling something like the magazines or antivirus or a website. So anything within $500, you're not selling something like that. So you are basically asking your clients to outsource their important task to your company, and this is a strategic level decision. It is not an operational level decision. It's not going to be quick to decide it, once in the morning and then they will outsource their task to you. There is a chain of decision makers. There will be multiple people who will be making this type of decision. For example, the owners, presidents, vice presidents, or that particular department managers. They all will be thinking, deciding, and then make the decisions. You need to make sure that the sales pipeline, it's going to take time, but the only answer or the only way to get more clients on board is building bigger sales pipelines. So you need to have more database. You need to be really strong on social media, and specifically LinkedIn, Twitter, and reach out to more people, explaining about your services and helping them with the value-added content. And the more appointments that you get on board for your client, the more chances are going to be there in getting really good clients for your business. Okay, so the next question is number 8. What does client require in order for us to get approved for contract? So I believe this question is about the criteria. So if you're going for larger companies, if you're going for mid-sized companies, there are stringent criteria, when it comes to qualifying the service providers. So they will be making sure they have certain criteria. Do you have so and so years of experience, like minimum 6 to 7 years of experience? How many clients have you catered in the past? How many employees do you have? What kind of resources and IT infrastructure do you have? What kind of data security that you maintain in your company? Are you ISO standard company? So there will be a different set of criteria that they will ask. But if you're a startup company, you don't have to worry about that. What I suggest is that instead of focusing on mid-size or large-size companies, why don't you target small-size or startup companies in developed nations? So startup companies who have just recently started, which are 3 years old, they have a typical team strength of around 20 to 25 people. That's a typical strength, and they are growing companies. So they will not be very stringent about the qualification criteria when it comes to service providers, but they will definitely would want to save the cost, employee payroll. They want to make their company's operations efficient, effective. So they are in need of such services, but their qualification criteria for the service providers is not going to be that stringent. So number 9 question is, does client provide the training modules, or do we as a company create our own? So the training is provided in 2 ways. One is that if you are hiring, if you're developing the offshore center, and when it comes to contact center industry, The one training is given by the offshore centers, that is a VNA training, that is voice and accent training, because your employees are situated in different culture, different geography, they have a different mother tongue influence. So there are, these are the internal trainings which are conducted when it comes to contact centers, that is voice and accent training. But when it comes to process training, then this is something that in the first place the client is going to give you. So client is going to help you in that. You will have to document the entire process. Your manager will go to the client's location, or client's manager will come to your offshore center, and he will be teaching, or he will be giving the training to the first level employees. So your managers or senior managers, they will be getting trained by the client. So they will have to document the entire process. This process is called as process transitioning. So there is a transitioning happening from the developed country to offshore center, you will have to document the entire process, and then you will have to conduct next batches of training for your next employees you hire in offshore development center. So this is about the training part. The number 10 question is, what customer service client industry has the most simple and easy to learn training but has consistent and steady hours available? So when it comes to any industry, you say, when it comes to travel industry, when it comes to finance industry, e-commerce, healthcare, all these industries which are giving good revenue, they're steady and they're giving really great revenue when it for the outsourcing industry. All these industries, they have their own trainings, and some of the companies have complex trainings. It goes on for six months time. So there is nothing called simple, that anything will be simple. Yes, in contact centers things have changed, and people literally get, some of the small businesses, they get very simple processes like limousine booking, appointment booking. So there is not much training required there. But also those are not sustainable, or they are not going to be long-term profitable businesses for you. So if you're looking for something long-term profitable business for you, then I suggest in either of these industries there is going to be an intensive training that is going to happen, which may be varying from 1 month to 6 months time. So that's going to be there. The last question is 11. What are the top 5 to 10 industries that you would recommend for obtaining contracts? Brilliant question. I have always suggested that don't go for, at a startup stage, don't go for 5 or 10 industries at all, and even not more than one geography at all. Because the more you keep the target range wide and open, the more difficult it's going to be for you to create references in the industry. For example, if you're creating references only in healthcare industry in the US, you have decided your geography and your industry, and once you start with lead generation, prospecting, and you're talking to 10 business development managers, or you're talking to the business owners or presidents in your targeted area or targeted industry, you can easily get references, you can easily use their terminology when you're closing the deal, when you're doing the presentation. You understand the bottleneck of that particular industry, what are the problems in this industry, so how you can actually bring your solutions for so and so industry to solve those problems and get clients on board. But if you make it wide and open in the beginning stage, it's going to be more difficult for you, because every industry has their own problems, they have own difficulties, they have their own bottlenecks, and then you coming up with your own solutions to handle or to answer all those problems will be really difficult. So if you're a startup business, I suggest you to stay focused on 1 or 2 industries. The industries which I recommend is travel and hospitality, healthcare, banking and finance, and e-commerce. These are 4 industries which will definitely be profitable for you if you stay focused. So in this video, I think I have covered all 11 important questions asked by Stacy. If you guys have any questions, make sure to share me in comments or directly WhatsApp me, and I will be filming another video. If they are really great questions, I will be definitely filming another video. If you have got some value from this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel to watch more videos about outsourcing and offshoring. And be in touch. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.